Good afternoon. I'd like to call the Public Works Committee meeting for July 14th to order. First order of business is roll call and determination of quorum, please.
Doyle.
Here.
Estes.
Here.
Roberts. Weifenbach. Wright. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Brenda. Next order of business is adoption of the agenda. Are there any changes, additions? Seeing none?
Second.
I have a motion to adopt by Estes, second by Weifenbach. Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Agenda is adopted. I would like to make a comment that we are without electronics up here today, so for those of you up here on this committee, if you do have something to say for discussion or staff, just kind of wave and we'll try to do an informal cue that way. Thank you. Now is a time for general public comment, which is a time for members of the public to address or discuss things and concerns to this committee on issues not limited to the agenda. Action, however, will not be taken on those items unless placed unanimously on the agenda by a vote of this committee. I do not have any general public speaker request forms. Was there anyone who wanted to? Seeing none, we'll move on to consent items 1 through 28. I'll now open public comment on consent items 1 through 28. Once again, I do have 0 speaker request forms. Was there anyone who wanted to speak on any of those items? I will close public comment now. And is there any committee member who would like to remove a consent calendar item? Seeing none, I'd ask for a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Approve.
Motion by Weifenbach, second by Wright. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. The consent calendar is approved. Moving on to item number 29 through 32, non-consent. I will open public comment. I do have no speaker request forms. Once again, is there anyone who would like to speak on items number 29 through 32? Seeing none, I will close public comment once again, and we'll move on to item number 29, which is a Standing Committee on Sustainability Annual Report with Eric Heikus. Would you like to present that report today? Thank you. If you would just approach the podium and we'll get rolling. Welcome back.
Thank you. So the materials we have to present were given to staff, and I guess we're going to present them via the AV system.
There we go.
So
Looks like they're getting it up.
maybe hope is a better word than guess.
Hope.
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 So do I need to click something or? Okay. Sorry. So every 2 years we come before Public Works, Finance, and City Council. I'm the chairman of the Sustainability Committee, which was formed by Mayor. We're hoping that we can make a change to this committee so that it'd be formed by ordinance. We're working to do that with the new mayor and new council. We've been very active in the community. We've been very active internally here at the city. We've been kind of reaching out between the different departments, and finding liaisons and working for the good of sustainability. One of the ideas that we've had is actually to rename the committee the Rapid City Resiliency Committee, because of the sustainability has been kind of getting a bad rap with the UN and things like that. But the intent, of course, is a three-legged stool that socially, economically, and environmentally, we are stewards of our community, and we're doing good for Rapid City. We're helping Rapid City be future-minded, conserve resources, live better, be better citizens. So here's our annual report. It's basically a summary of what we've been up to for the past couple years and what our plans are for the next couple years. I'm very pleased to have a large number of our committee here today sitting in the audience. We have quite a diverse bunch of folks that contribute twice a month to sustainability in the community, everything from educators to PhDs to specialists in sustainability. So do you want, tell me how to click. Do I just do the mouse here? Yes. Okay, great. So if you do a quick history of our committee, we were formed as part of the Green Cities Task Force and the Mayor's Ad Hoc Task Force on Sustainability. We are now a standing committee of the City of Rapid City, and there's a little bit about us. We're now 4 years old, which is exciting, and we've got our bylaws, we've got all of our legwork done, and now we're off to doing great things. Here's what some of them are. Here's our committee. And we've got about half of the group here today in the audience. Jennifer Benning is here. She's an educator at South Dakota School of Mines. Kevin Crosby's here. He is up at Mount Rushmore as their sustainability coordinator. Eldine Henderson is here, and she is a big educator in the community and also a big part in land use work. Alan is one of our liaisons. He's here today too. You can see the rest of our folks there. Jerry Wright is our liaison to Public Works and Council, and we do have quite a few other strategic partners. There's our mission statement. To encourage education, stewardship, and policy leadership that will make our community a leader in economic, social, environmental sustainability. We have a page on the city's website. We're hoping that as the website's getting revamped, that also our work is going to get revamped. It's easy to get on there and find meeting minutes, critical elements we're up to, all that is at the click of a button. Here's what we identified at our last goal-setting meeting. Development of resource and relationship with 3 city departments. We've reached out to several. Planning, Public Works, Parks. Give 10 awards. A big part of what we're doing as a committee is to celebrate the great things we're doing in the community. This is one of the ways we celebrate, is to give these awards. We gave 10, and also to be part of endorsing or facilitating various ordinances that come before the city: dark skies management, energy policy, HENS, those kind of things. Now, our primary job is to kind of become a sounding board for the legitimacy of those ordinances and to help with those, but not necessarily to be the petitioner for those. So I just need to be clear there. And then, of course, everyday promotion of sustainable resources and making sure those are available to the community as part of education. So, here's what we've got accomplished in our first goal. We've been busy working with the MPO and planning. We've been busy working with the Parks Department and Public Works. With solid waste, we've been linking and liaisoning with the Black Hills Power Group and Dakota Rural Action, at Black Hills State University, and of course, South Dakota School of Mines and Technology. We have a liaison on the Urban Wildlife Committee. Our second goal is to give these awards. A lot of these are really exciting, and they involved citizens of the community. Here's one example of the Light the Night project that we gave an award to. It's been a couple years ago, but this is the police department and all the groups. And we gave the opportunity to those people that contributed and put hard work into those projects, and we got them up in front of the council. We gave them, recognized them, and of course applauded their efforts in hopes that they would set an example to other citizens in the community, and other projects would come forward. So I think that's been successful. Here's a list of those. And we got a couple more coming up. We're going to present in August. There's some really great ones up here. The Fensky Printing's solar array is very impressive if you've seen it. The General Beetle's Pizza Garden is a fantastic part of the curriculum there, and also a big tie to the social part of our community. Cobbler Cafe. Those are some great projects. Here's an example of getting some people up there and recognize them for their efforts. Next goal, of course, is endorsement or facilitation of various ordinances, bike path, alternative energy, head ordinance. Here's what I described earlier as we're kind of the first place of action seeking those endorsements. We're happy to help. We don't necessarily write legalese for these, but we kind of try to point people in the right way and give them the resources they need. Here's a list of the things we've been successful with. The National Science Foundation Sustainable Development for Teachers proposal, the HIN ordinance, the resolution for Rapid City's renewable energy resolution, the Barb King Environmental Stewardship Award for the Parks Department's central control, and of course the distributed generation legislation, HB 1254, House Bill, for fair buyback of energy. That's kind of what we've been up to in the past 2 years. And then, of course, our last goal, promotion of sustainable education to the community. This is a lot of what we've been up to there. The comprehensive plan is the most notable work I think we've done. We contributed as a committee to that effort. On a big picture scale, on a small picture scale, but a meaningful scale, the Cobbler Cafe was an excellent example of how sustainability can be interjected into education. So, and then of course our work with School of Mines is ongoing. This spring we ushered in Arbor Day. We kind of adopted that event as a committee, largely due to Dave Johnson, one of our new members. Networked with the Parks Department. I see a couple of guys are here. That was really fun. Planted a cool tree. And it kept our Tree City status active. So we don't mind a cause, and we're organized, and we like to pick up the ball and run it across the goal line if we need to. So happy to help. Now, that's what we did last couple of years. This is what we got in store for the next couple of years. These ideas are a little bigger too. So we're going to continue our awards program and continue promotion of those and diversity of those awards, keeping those more exciting and diverse. We have plans to execute a sustainability conference here in Rapid City. Is anyone familiar with Plain Green event that the Sioux Falls group put together? It was really successful. It drew great attendance from the region, from this part of the state, from Minnesota and Iowa. A lot of people used it as their professional development. They had everything there from wild animal husbandry to progressive planning, and they are no longer. For some reason, this year was their last of 5 years. And in my own personal opinion, I think Rapid City is a much hipper, much more progressive Western community, and we should be the place to host the sustainability conference. We're working to put that together as a group. It's going to require a lot of collaboration between the various city and special interest groups in the community to pull it off, but it could be excellent. So then we're back to our celebrate, educate, and formulate what we're up to. Now, very much part of the comprehensive plan's recommendations are to promote how the perception of Rapid City is as a sustainable leader in the region and also the state. And hey, why not? Let's reach out and talk about how Rapid City could be perceived in the West. The star rating system was actually one mentioned in the comp plan as a potential baseline criteria and evaluation system. The metric in this is excellent. It is a chance for Rapid City to rise head and shoulders above the other communities around us. Right now, Durango is seeking this criteria. Fort Collins has also become a four-star rated community. if anyone remembers back in the day when Rapid City was the star of the West, we thought this was very applicable. And we are ready to do some heavy lifting as a group and tie to the other departments to do some heavy lifting to get this rating system to be ours, to be the first star-rated community in South Dakota, and to really tote that in terms of how we can attract young business leaders, old business leaders, millennials, software designers, anybody who sees sustainable living as an attractive reason why they would move their business or move themselves to a community, and also how we can possibly attract federal monies, grants. It puts us on a different platform than we are currently. We think it's a great system. Here's an example of how the STAR system is antiquated and delivered. It's basically a series of criteria comparing how we're doing things to a baseline. One example would be our waste management. This requires some work, and it requires everybody to put shoulder to shoulder together to want to accomplish this. One of the key parts in accomplishing the STAR rating system is to put a full-time staff member here at the city on as a sustainability coordinator and a department manager for sustainability or resiliency. One of their initial tasks, and it's probably a full-time job in and of itself, is to coordinate the STAR certification. And of course, that takes a lot of cooperative work between all the other departments in finding that metric, analyzing how we're doing, and of course, evaluating how we can do better. So, in order to achieve this job needs to be put in place, and it's also that job was mentioned in the comprehensive plan. So we're happy to help support that liaison, that sustainability coordinator through our grassroots effort with all the resources we have and the goodwill we have. Also follow up from the comprehensive plan is some work we're doing to establish a network of city department liaisons. We do have liaisons on our committee. We'd also like to reach out and become liaisons to their departments. This goes through Public Works, and it goes through planning. It goes through waste management and parks. It's about helping each other out, and we're happy to be part of that. The second goal in the comprehensive plan worth mentioning is the promotion of an education program about sustainability and creating a database or clearinghouse. This could be something at the library or something on our website on how to best do adaptive reuse, how to best do recycling, that sort of thing, so that we've got good and current metric there so that work we're doing is up in keeping with what the nation is doing. So as part of that goal, of course, discussion of that sustainability conference are part of that educational opportunity. And of course, we mentioned topics there like gardening, composting, landscaping, energy conservation. This is a fine chance for people like Black Hills Power to showcase their wares and what they have, how to save a little energy, save a little money, produce a little bit better energy. As I mentioned, our adoption of the Tree City USA effort, including the Arbor Day, we'll continue doing that. We're happy to help with that. The biggest reason for that is that was typically done before by the Urban Forestry Board, and that committee is no longer in place, so we'll take the ball from there. We'll happy to help with that. And then we have some, far-reaching, more intangible goals like bees in the community and the night skies, the management of our dark skies through better electrical and lighting design. That's becoming an issue. It's hard to see the Milky Way anymore from parts of the community and the city and up in the mountains because of all the light spill that we're doing up into the environment. So some of the real reasons we draw tourists here in the Badlands and the Black Hills for that very feature, a beautiful myriad of stars and a vibrant Milky Way, is being affected by the fact that we're just not designing our lighting systems to dark skies criteria. If somebody has heard the term zero cutoff, or those kind of, basically, we're not pushing light up from a 90-degree angle anywhere. We want to help with the farmers market. A big part of our group is local foods and the food co-op. We've got an arborist on our group that's very passionate about trees. Now that's part of our supportive action. And of course, here I am standing telling all of you that we are your resource. We're happy to have all kinds of people come and visit us to enjoy a lot of the materials we've garnered over the last 4 years and can make Rapid City better as a result. We invite anyone who wants to come to our meetings. They're the second and fourth Mondays. They're in the community room on the main floor of this building. We're happy to have whoever wants to attend there to see what's going on at our committee. And we're also very happy to answer any questions. I have 2 more bits of materials to share. One is a pamphlet. Maybe get that up on the screen there. At the council meeting, I think we're going to bring paper copies of our pamphlet. And then I've also put together some materials more specific to the STAR community system that are attached to your packets as well. I know you don't have the electronics there. Maybe I can get the AV folks to put that up briefly too.
While they're looking into that, thank you, Mr. Hikas, for your presentation. For the folks watching at home, what time are your meetings on the second and fourth Mondays?
They're on 5:30.
5:30. Thank you very much. Do we have any questions for Mr. Hikas or a motion on the floor? We'll go to Alderman Wright.
I just want to thank you and your committee for all your work. And there was a development over the last year or so where we have a memorandum of understanding for research and support from the School of Mines with our public works and I think the entire city, which gives us flexibility to do some research in support of the efforts that you're talking about. And a lot of us don't know about that. And I think it's something we need to work on, such as how can we use our organic processing of compost in water conservation, water quality, and tree growth and all that. So this is a great opportunity for us to go move forward in many areas. Thank you. And I applaud you for what you've done. Thank you.
Happy to talk with you more about that, Jerry. That sounds exciting.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. Do we have a motion or any other questions from the committee?
Move to acknowledge.
I have a motion to acknowledge by Weifenbach and a second from Estes. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Hikas.
Thank you. We're excited to be at council on Monday night too.
Appreciate the presentation.
Okay.
Moving on to item number 30, which is a request by FMG Inc. for South Dakota School of Mines and Technology Foundation to consider an application for a vacation of right-of-way at the point beginning more generally described as East St. Joseph Street, East Kansas City Street between Maple Avenue and Elm Avenue. Do you have a motion or discussion? Of motion to approve by Estes, a second by Weifenbach. Is there any discussion or questions from staff? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 31, we'll go to Parks and Rec for a cemetery headstone repair project update, and I believe Craig Nichols is going to be presenting.
I think you all have a package of what is there's something with you. Kind of a general outlay of what has happened and what will be happening, the work that's been completed, and the work that's going to hopefully start next week. Start our second phase next week. We did receive 3 informal quotes from 3 companies here in Rapid City, and we'll be looking at those quotes in the next couple of days and awarding that to someone. So I guess the projected cost is around the 12,000 area for this next phase, roughly, and so that'd put us about 16,000 roughly left after we're done. And then hopefully when we're done, we'll reevaluate and work on a third phase.
Sounds like we have a question from the committee. We'll go to Alderman Wright.
Again, I gotta say thank you for your efforts, and your report will be forwarded to the benefactors that gave the money. And please continue the good work. It's so important that we protect our heritage and history out there and so forth. And thank you.
You're welcome.
Let us know if you need more help. Thank you.
Any other questions from the committee or a motion? I have a motion to acknowledge from Estes. And a second by Weifenbach. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion to acknowledge?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. Item number 32, bike path repair report. We will go to Mr. Jeff Bigler. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's a good thing we had some reports and updates on today's agenda, or we'd all be gone in about 5 minutes. This is an update on where we are with our bike path restoration project. As you probably all remember, last fall we had a considerable amount of concern from some citizens regarding the condition of the bike path along the Greenway. We subsequently went out and did a survey of the entire bike path and came up with a list of areas that were in need of concrete panel repair, areas that were in need of some additional fill material along the edges of the concrete, and also a few areas that needed more considerable repair, and those were areas behind Billion Kia along the creek, which had a large washout of the stream bank, and also that encroached into the bike path. We had an area, still have an area, along the fairgrounds where we've had the stream bank undercut and undermined the concrete bike path, and then also the area behind the fish hatchery, which has had significant cracking due to I guess inappropriate construction to begin with, as well as a number of tree roots and settling and such that have really taken its toll on that stretch behind the fish hatchery. The 2 areas of main concern, the fish hatchery and the Billion Kia property, involve the acquisition of easements. We do not have a pedestrian easement behind the fish hatchery. That is actually state property. We have applied to the state, and they are reviewing our application for an easement. We also have been in contact with Billion Kia folks to gain an easement behind their facility for construction, and then for the permanent easement for the bike path itself. So those 2 easement projects are ongoing. The section that's undermined along the fairgrounds is on city property, so we don't need any easement work done there. We do have a contract with Ferber Engineering for assessment and design of those stream bank restoration areas in those 2 areas. And we are, when we get that information, we will be doing the repair work on those areas. Now, we are also doing work in-house with our own concrete crew in the Parks Department to address those concrete panels along the bike path from from east to west, west to east, that are in need of work that we can accomplish ourselves in-house. And although it's been a really wet year, we have been getting some success the last couple of weeks. Things have started to dry out, and we've been able to start to tackle those repairs. And that will continue until we can't pour concrete any longer this year. So our intent is to continue to repair the entire bike path, either through city forces or through contract, and we will get that work done, and we will have a beautiful bike path once again. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Bigler. It's nice to have the weather cooperating a little bit now. Do we have any questions or a motion from the committee? Once again, we'll go to Alderman Wright.
The number one question is the issue of inspecting the bicycle path or pedestrian path. Have you established a formal policy that you will inspect it on a regular basis, say once a year, twice a year, and note the shortcomings or repairs that need to be done?
Right.
Request funding. That's a formal policy now, right?
Well, yes.
When do you do the inspections?
We will be doing the inspections in the spring, following the, I guess, the snow removal season, to ensure that there wasn't any damage due to snow removal. And then again in the fall, we'll be doing an inspection just to make sure that any kind of activity throughout the summer, such as we've had with construction that has heavy equipment that drives across the bike path to perform some sort of a construction, hasn't damaged it again. So we will be doing a comprehensive inspection twice a year now, and we'll be going forward with that inspection schedule. I should also mention that the one other area that's kind of an unknown right now are the areas where the bike path goes underneath the overpasses that are still underwater from early June. We don't know what damage, if any, may have been caused by the flow of water through there. So as soon as that water subsides, we'll be able to get in there and make an assessment of those areas. And we're hoping that all it amounts to is just a cleaning of the debris and the silt from the pathway, and not something more severe like an undercutting of the concrete itself.
I have one other question, if I may.
Yes, you may.
On the 2016 budget, were you receiving, or will you receive adequate funding to do your maintenance on the bike path henceforth? Did you see the increase, the status quo, or what happened?
We should be all right, yes. I mean, could we use an increase? That's a question that we should always say yes to. It's always good to have more money, but we will. Once the path is repaired, the ongoing maintenance is going to be hopefully minimal. But it is something that's another part of infrastructure that we have in our parks, similar to what we've got across town. And we've got other areas in our parks that need to be addressed as well. Parking areas and things like that all degrade over time and that need to be repaired. And so that's something that we will be addressing as well. Could we use more money? Of course.
I'll be talking about that at budget, I'm sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. Do I have a motion or any other questions from committee? A motion to acknowledge by Weifenbach, a second by Estes. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn by Weifenbach. Second by Estes. All in favor of adjournment? Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you.